Are you ready to dial in psychically with your team and find the perfect wavelength? Hey guys, and thanks for joining us at Teach from House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're reviewing the game Wavelength from Palm Court. This is from designers Alex Haig, Justin Vickers, and Wolfgang Warsch.
The game is for 2 to 12-ish players and can be played in about 30 minutes. Palm Court was kind enough to send us a copy, so let's take a look at how it's played.
To set up the game, split the players into 2 teams and select one player from Team 1 to be the psychic.
That player will draw a card and choose between the front or back side. Next, close the screen and rotate the wheel several times to randomly set the radius.
The psychic then gets to open the wheel to see what spectrum he'll be trying to get his team to locate. They then close the screen and give a clue to their team. After the clue, they can't talk or give any indication.
A clue like Cheerios might be given for the card Disgusting Cereals to Delicious Cereals if they wanted their team to turn the dial to the center.
The team will communicate together and must decide where to turn the dial on the spectrum, hoping to hit the psychic's wavelength.
Once they are settled on a location, the other team will have an opportunity to decide if they think the dead center is to the left or right of the dial's current position, and they will mark it with their pencil.
The screen is opened and points are awarded to Team 1 if their guess is on the spectrum, so in this case, 2 points.
Team 2 will also score 1 point if they place their marker on the correct side.
Play continues back and forth with each team selecting a new psychic each round, and once one team reaches 10 points, they win.
Wavelength was actually on Kickstarter last year, and a bunch of backers were able to help produce it and bring it to life. It's got a really interesting mechanical piece in the game, which is really the most fun part of it. Being able to turn that dial and having it tell you where you need to give the clue for is really cool. The table presence is great, but the gameplay itself is actually really awesome.
Yeah, this is a party game that I feel like does a great job of, doesn't really matter your age or gaming level, even if you're a casual gamer who doesn't game very often, you can jump right in. It also isn't completely dependent on trivia, which a lot of party games are, so even if you don't have the knowledge of a lot of different topics, you just need to be able to give your team an answer that they can dial in on the right spectrum to get the answer.
All the cards in the game are double-sided, and so you'll be able to flip between, you draw one and flip between the two. You're going to get a good amount of replayability out of just the number of cards in the deck, but the real replayability comes from the fact that that dial is going to be randomly set every time, and so you could actually use the same card like 3 times and then use a different word to describe it to try to get your team to turn it in the right direction. I know we've had a good time with that. The questions can be or the topics can be very subjective too, kind of based on who your audience is. So if you're playing with, your family, you may give a totally set of different clues than you would if you're playing with total strangers, because you kind of know, you can get on that psychic wavelength with family members, and then it's super awesome when you nail it. You get that 4-pointer, and you're like, yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing you were. A lot of fun on that.
Yeah, there's some worst cereal, best cereal. I know Will's favorite cereal is Count Chocula, which only comes out at Halloween, but not everyone knows that, so they may just pick another awesome cereal like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and they're obviously not going to pick Bran Flakes. If they're trying to pick one of those 2 extremes, the hard part is that middle area, and it doesn't matter the topic. Sometimes it's going to be difficult to give a clue, and then that's when the other team does have a chance to gain points. If they don't think the other team has dialed right where it needs to be, they can gain a point for their mistake.
Right, they kind of use that Price is Right, like do we think it's higher or lower, and then they can immediately get 1 point off of that, which is pretty neat. When we've been playing the game, like we've said, we've had a number of different audiences and sizes, and being able to pass it around is really convenient. You do have to be a little bit careful when you reveal the window. We noticed that if you reveal it halfway and you're like, oh, okay, I know where it needs to go at, observant other players can know where on the spectrum it might be. She was saying the middle is hard. One of the other weird things things that happens once in a while is the spectrum actually lands on like both the very extreme edges of it, which is kind of crazy. And so then you have to figure out like, do I want to give my team a clue that is the most extreme right or the most extreme left? Or sometimes when you're really clever, you can actually pull off one that's like, that actually is both of those things. And that's really awesome when the team is like, wait, it's either this or this. It could be both. Let's go both ways. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it comes with a decently large deck, and it doesn't matter if you've used the cards again because of the randomness of where that spectrum is. And the components seem to hold up and be pretty sturdy, so I don't have any problems or foresee any problems with the components falling apart after lots of use or any wear and tear that may happen.
Yep. Pretty cool stuff. If you're interested in Wavelength, be sure to check it out. I'm sure you can find it online. And then, as always, thanks so much for subscribing and following along here at Tantrum House. Different every single time. You're going to want to use different words, and you're going to also be very reliant on your team because some of these questions are incredibly
so far everyone has seemed to have a good time playing this game. Sorry, my brain is not working. I had